Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fuel for Success. This is episode 211 on a beautiful Thursday in October. So good to see everybody. Thanks, everybody who's hanging out and waiting for Matt to get through security. Luckily, they didn't arrest him or anything, so here he is joining us live from the Tampa airport. It's travel day for us, and sometimes, you're doing a live show. Travel can be challenging, so thankful, Matt, that you're able to be on the show. Thanks for making the effort, and good to see you.
It's good seeing you, and I really appreciate our live viewers that have been flexible. This has been 2 travel days this week. Everybody's been gracious and kind to flow with us. And then, you and I will be together tomorrow in D.C. Big weekend ahead of us, Mike. Big weekend ahead of us. Excited about it. Looking forward to it. Mike, this is our show about business and entrepreneurship, and this is one of our personal favorite shows. It definitely could easily hit top 3 for me, top 2 actually. Mike, I really believe that there comes a point, and you and I are personally experiencing this in business. There really does, after all the hard work and all the pounding and beating it and just crushing it and executing and hustling and sweating and trying this and trying that. There really does. There's something about, there is a true breakthrough that comes to people that, and I'm not saying everybody gets it. Not everybody gets the opportunity to break. But it's like that old quote, I believe it was Walter Payton who said, "It seems to be that the harder I work, the luckier I get."
Right.
And it feels to me, Mike, from the events that have taken place in our startup company that we've recently, not recently, but over the last, we've been hustling, getting it done. It seems to me there's probably more of a breakthrough right now. What do you think the reason for that is, Mike? I mean, you've seen businesses that, it's like the little mom and pop cupcake shop. Then all of a sudden Oprah happens to walk in and try it, and then boom, who was it? Was it the guy that wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad only sold 1,000 copies in the first few years, and then, it exploded. I mean, the list goes on and on. Think of our friend Seth Godin, said he lived paycheck to paycheck for his first 5 years in business and could never get more than $1,000. Think about that. Here's this guy who probably makes $50,000 to $75,000 per keynote address. His first 5 years in business, he lived broke. He literally lived paycheck to paycheck. Then you think about the story of FedEx. They almost went under. I mean, literally, there was almost no FedEx. But, Mike, what is it, in your opinion, that causes these businesses to have these massive turnarounds and then just boom? It's an explosion, man.
I think there's a couple of things at work here, and one of them, even the Bible tells us that time and chance happen with all men, right? So we know that there are things that just literally happen. You could be, just in the right place at the right time, but I also think that there's underlying principles of cause and effect, and when we follow those principles, then we make opportunities. Since you brought up Walter Payton, I'm going to go ahead and do a baseball analogy, right? You do the right things. Yeah. If you do the right things over and over and over again, success will happen, right? If you're a manager in a baseball team, right, you know that you may switch out your pitcher in the late innings because of a certain batter that's coming up, because you know that, hey, Caleb, right?
How you doing?
Good, man.
I'm letting him hear your baseball now.
Yeah, right. So you may switch out your pitcher in the late innings because you know that he does well, statistically against left-handed batters or against, left-handed power hitters, and you're up by a run and you want to keep that, you want to protect that lead. So you may bring in a certain pitcher. Well, time and chance happens, right? I mean, even though the odds are in your favor, that guy may come up and hit one out of the park, 2-run homer, and win the game. But the principle is you take and put the odds in your favor over and over and over again. And if you do that, 80-20, 80% of the time it's going to work out in your favor. But once in a while it's not, right? But you want to take those principles and apply them, working principles like using statistics, using numbers, those sort of things. So that's my analogy. I think that's one of the reasons.
What do you think of did you do good on the baseball analogy?
It was really good. It was on point.
Were you impressed?
I was pretty impressed.
Thanks, Caleb.
Caleb, you've watched a lot of Shark Tank, a lot. What's the number one thing you've learned just from watching Shark Tank and the profit and different business stuff?
I think that they will only go and invest in someone who they see, like, it may be great, but if there's not a person who's willing to go and sweat and knock on some doors and do whatever it needs to do, they won't invest unless they have someone who's willing to make the money and go and beat the doors. So I guess just basically what I've learned from all that stuff is just go and do it, and the money will come.
The money will come. Well, go give me a Trinity Ice Green Tea Unsweet. Tell them not to make it real strong, and then get whatever you want. I love you. Hey, that was good.
Good seeing you, Caleb.
We'll have him on tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mike said bye. We'll have him on tomorrow. He's looking forward to seeing you guys. Hey, listen to this, Mike. I actually gave Caleb a little nugget today.
Yeah.
And I wanted this will really help people in business. This will help, see, here's the most important part of any business or any in a startup company. The founder, the CEO, your people are only going to grow as high as you do. So you've got to continuously be growing. But I was telling Caleb today, I said, Caleb, if you took 2 jars and you put 100 marbles, you put 90 marbles in 1 jar, and I said, what I'm going to do is you got 100 days to hit 90 days of your 5 goals. And every day that you hit your 5 goals, you take a marble out of this jar and you put it in the empty jar. And your goal is literally to empty this jar into this jar, and you only got a 10-day grace period out of 100 to miss not hitting your daily goals. So think about it. Like for me, my 5 are every day I write, every day I do my workout, every day I juice, every day I got to make my calls, and every single day I got to do my personal growth, which entails, when I say personal growth, Mike, for me, it's reading, it's prayer, it's meditating, it's all that combined into one. Like for me, I do all that in one, whatever. But I told Caleb, I said, Caleb, take 5 things that you feel like you've got to do every day. And every day that you do your 5, you take a marble out of that jar and you put it in the empty jar. And let's see if you can hit it 90 times out of the next 100 days. You got a 10-day grace period to miss it, And not that you're going to, I'm just saying, but that's it. 10 days is all you can miss. Imagine if we did this for exercise. Imagine if we did this for juicing. Imagine if we did this for sales calls. Let's say your goal is to make 15 sales calls a day. Well, do this. Say, okay, I'm going to put, 90 marbles in a jar, and, I've got 100 days to empty this jar, and you can only pull out 1 marble a day. And every time you hit your goal, you pull out a marble, and you put it in that empty jar. I know it's old school. I know it's kind of like, very whatever, but I think a lot of salespeople, Mike, and a lot of people in business in general, and our friend Jay talked about this. They don't set goals. And I just want to throw that in there. Then I want to go back real quick to what you said about breakthrough business. Same thing in sales. I would tell any salespeople, if you're not hitting your numbers, Brian Tracy says one of the fastest ways to get a breakthrough in business or in anything is to set a goal to make 100 calls as fast as you can and not care about the result. Like, I've done that before, and the result has been insane. Like, just to say, okay, I'm going to see how fast I can make 100 calls. Not like rushing it, not like losing the quality over quantity. Not like, coming across, you ever talk to somebody and they talk real fast, because you can just tell that they're not really, like, plugged in and connected to the conversation. But I think that's wise. Or it could be something else. It could be, what are you going to do over the next 90 days? What are you going to do over the next 30 days? What are you going to do in the month of November? How are you going to end this year? What are you going to do next year? Are you going to blow it up? Are you going to explode? Are you going to hustle like never before? Are you satisfied? Are you ready to take this to the next level? The only thing, in my opinion, Mike, to get breakthroughs is to increase actions and to consistently. It's like from a health perspective, and I hate to I don't hate, but we always come back to health because obviously it's one of our passions. But you can work out today. And then I'll work out again for another week. It's not going to do no good for you. It's what you do daily. Same thing in business. People have massive breakthroughs. Look at Gary Vaynerchuk. How long did he do WineLibrary.tv before anybody noticed him? How many episodes did he do?
It was like 3 years, really, before he really had a breakthrough.
Yeah, think about it. He's like one of the most popular keynote speakers on the planet. Unbelievable. He's got over 1 million followers on Twitter, and literally 3 years of doing a daily show before he said sometimes he would only have 10 to 15 views on one of his shows.
Right.
That's why it's distasteful to me to see people that never start and then never just do it daily. Sometimes you just get lost in the doing and in the business, and in the process, one day you wake up and it's like, our ship is coming in,
Yeah, the ship is just usually pretty slow. It's a lot slower than people expect, I think. And actually, there was a nugget that Gary Vee said. He does a show every day called Ask Gary Vee, which is a great show. Go check it out. Where people like tweet questions, and somebody said, how do I build my personal brand? And he said, well, first of all, do the work for 10 years or 20 years, and then build the personal brands. He was saying basically, you're not going to be able to to impact people and make a difference until you've done the hard work. And what does it take to have a breakthrough business? You know what it is? It's the daily grind, and it's the daily work, and it's the unsexy part of the 10 hours a day rolling up your sleeve, answering emails, writing reports, analyzing the numbers, hashing the details, executing details, taking care of business, delivering product, doing whatever it takes. All of those daily grind activities, those are what lead to the breakthrough. I love what Dave Ramsey says. He said, I was an overnight success after 20 years, right? And that's, I totally believe that. You put in the hard work up front, you put in the grind, you put in the hustle, and eventually you get your breakthrough moment. And it's because you keep, putting the right pitcher in, putting the right batter in, taking your, increasing your odds of success as much as you can at every single opportunity, and then that breakthrough opportunity will happen.
Well, Mike, that's actually really good, my friend, and I love the Dave Ramsey quote. And it's true. It's true. It's ready for this. Before he got on Good Morning America, before he got on Oprah, before he did all them little seminars in them small churches, radio interviews to a nobody radio station, and listen, same thing with John Maxwell. I mean, you look at John Maxwell, who's like a leadership guru. Mark Cuban. I mean, when you think about the fact that before Mark Cuban was Mark Cuban, that the man didn't take a vacation for 7 years, and that's legit.
Right.
So I'm going to answer 2 questions. One, I'm going to answer Karen's question, what type of book I'm working on. Karen, I'm committed to finishing kind of my life story, my biography a little bit. I hate to write a biography at such a young age, so I'm not going to call it a biography. I'm calling it more of like, I don't even know what I'm going to call it yet, but it's a lot of my own life experience,
Yeah.
So I'm not going to call it a biography, but something like that, Karen. But I will tell you this, there's 2 other books that are burning in me right now that I just got to discipline myself to wait, because I'm already like 6 chapters done with the book I started last year, which was kind of like this is my story type book, about my upbringing, about experiences I've gone through. I have a whole chapter about my divorce, the lessons I learned from that. But Karen, I am going to write a book next on to dads, specifically to dads, a whole book specifically to dads. I feel like it's one way to sometimes I meet dads and there's things I wish I could tell them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Give them a book. You know, so then I also, believe it or not, don't joke about this, but I really do want to write a book about dating. I'm an expert, 9 years in, baby, you know, so 9 years of that, you tend to learn a few things, what to do, what not to do, and
You know,
then I've seen so much.
like the quote I gave a couple weeks ago is bad decisions make great stories, right?
What are you saying, Mike? I've made
just-
bad decisions.
I'm just kidding.
I did want to answer a question, and that's good, Mike. Thank you, Tommy. And we feel that way. I do feel that way. I feel like over the next few years, or even over the next year, I feel like some of the things Mike and I have been working on. I mean, when you talk about beating it, and you talk about just hammering it, and people don't even know to the degree that Mike and I have just been cracking away at this. And it's been a long road up the mountain. Feels like climbing Mount Everest. Really does.
We had a lot of great stories.
Mike, we will tell our stories. And they're going to make people fall out of their chair while they're reading the book.
Yeah.
They literally won't believe it. They'll be like, I can't believe this. I got to ask these dudes on Built for Success. Did y'all really do that? Yep. Hey, listen, I got a question that came in, Mike, about what is a business CEO, entrepreneur, founder, what do they do when they've had a little success and they get stuck, when they get into a rut?
Good.
This happens. You know, this happens when somebody has had success, or maybe the business has grown. And like I said before, the most dangerous day in your life is not failure. Failure is actually the best day of your life. The most dangerous day of your life is success. So when you've reached a goal, you need to celebrate it like 24 hours and then be done with the celebration. You know, like, honestly, I mean, to a degree, that's true. Like, okay, take a day off, celebrate it, you know, go eat, have a piece of cheesecake, you know what I'm saying? Shoot, order an appetizer for all I care, you know? Go, you know, do whatever. But then the next day, it's sleeves up, let's go, you know. We've got to go to the next level.
Right.
All the greats, Mike, are always pushing to the next level. And so what do we do when you get stuck? What do you do when you get into a rut? What do you do when you're just kind of stuck? You know, you've hit your goals. You know, well, think about it, Mike. Let's say a business hits their financial goals 6 months into the year. Usually the next 6 months are like horrible for that business, right? Or a salesperson. Let's say he hits his quota the first 9 days of the month, right?
Yeah.
Then what happens?
It's a dangerous
You know,
place.
think about it.
Yeah.
Dangerous place. So how do you and I get them unstuck? How do we rattle them today to where they stop loafing and stop eating ice cream? Okay, you know what? You're done eating ice cream. You know, you've been eating ice cream for 3 months, my friends. The party's over. It's time to get back to work. You know? Let's talk about that.
I think they hire Matt as a coach to come in and get right in their face and say, look, you need to make your numbers. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it right there. Is I'll light them up, man. You know.
You know, but in sincerity, either a personal coach or you know, getting involved in personal development in some way, whether it's attending seminars or reading or having a personal coach, a business coach, that's a great way to break out of a plateau and begin to make gains when you've sort of plateaued without personal development. Because what I found happens is you're reading a book, you're attending a seminar, you're working with a coach. It starts thoughts in your head that become visions that become you know, a vision that you have. And without a vision, you know, that's why it's dangerous to hit your goals early, because all of a sudden you've accomplished your vision. And you sort of, it's like you've gotten to where you want to go, and you're like, well, now what, right? So you need to propel that.
Always got to set new goals, have new targets. Like if you sold, you know, if you made $1 million, right? Okay, awesome. You know what? Go ahead and maybe go on a 3-day cruise. But as soon as that thing's over, you should be on that cruise writing out, okay, how can I get to 10 million? I'm telling you, if you rest on your laurels, you're done. If you allow yourself to stay in a comfort zone and a rut for too long, it's like a rattlesnake. Your competitors can sneak up on you so fast, and you may not be able to catch up. So here's the deal. Let me throw this out at you. Let me throw this out for you guys to think about. I was in the home of a multimillionaire who has paid off his house. Everything's paid off. Who's got like $4 million in the bank, and he took me in his bedroom and he said, "I want to show you something." Cranks open this huge safe, and he grabs there's nothing but cash in the safe. $75,000 cash. It's like just packs of like $10,000 bundles, right? And he puts one in my hand. He goes, "Feel that." I was like, "Feels good, man." You know, and anyway, so this guy's been a mentor to me, a business mentor. He's incredible. I mean, he's just unbelievable. His work ethic is second to none. His drive. So here he's ready. He's got $4 million in the bank. His house paid for. Oh man, he's got $75,000 cash just sitting in the bank. He said, "Yeah, I had like $10,000 a month to it because I just want to have cash. You know, I know I got stuff in the bank. I want to have cash in my house. You know, just whatever, right?" He still gets up at like 5 a.m. and works 12, 14-hour days still. And he totally could just. And I asked him, I said, "How do you keep the drive to keep hustling the way you hustle?" He said, "Because I'm not satisfied. I feel broke." See, like, Mike, you ready for this? It's your financial blueprint. You ready for this? It's your financial blueprint. If you're going to be wealthy, you've got to change your financial blueprint. If you want to have more success, like, listen, you ready for this? I'm going to shoot you straight, all you business people out there and entrepreneurs. Your self-esteem has to be as high as your dream. Tweet that, my friends. Like, your image right here. Like, the number one thing I'm working with Caleb is imagery. Like, the power of vision and imagination. Imagery. Like, you've got to see it. You've got to know. Like, and so, same thing in business and, like, wealth, right? Like, you got to change your financial blueprint. So, like, some people might have 40 grand in the bank and feel loaded, right?
Right.
Some people might have $4 million in the bank and literally feel sick because they feel broke. They feel like they have nothing, you know? So, in my opinion, keep the hunger and then change your financial blueprint. It's like, you know, if, you know, in other words, don't get comfortable. Never get comfortable. That's what I've learned about the difference between those that are successful. This is what I told the kids on our baseball team last night, and I'll let you talk, Mike. I said, "You know something, guys? Let me tell you something. The greatest athletes out there, the majority of them, the talented ones, the LeBrons, the Kobes, the Michael Phelps, you know, the ones that are like unbelievable, right? The greatest athletes also have the greatest work ethic. They're also like the first one at the gym and the last one to leave. So this whole deal of talent and success, it's usually those that have a bad financial blueprint or imagery or negativity, not negativity, self-limiting beliefs that get comfortable at the first sign of a little bit of success. To me, that's dangerous.
One of the first things I learned from Tony Robbins like 20 some years ago when I was listening to him on cassette tapes was you know, in order to make any change in your life, you have to be uncomfortable with where you're at, and so that feeling of comfort, you know, there's got to be something within you that's always striving for more, that isn't comfortable with where you're at. And so that passion has to drive you forward, and that lack of comfort with my current situation. Because if you're comfortable, you won't make any changes. If you're uncomfortable, then you will. It's no different than, like, look, if you're cold at night, you're going to pull a blanket over you, right? If you're not going to do anything. If you're comfortable, you won't do a thing. And so I like that quote, Tommy. Passion doesn't fuel work ethic fuels passion. Great quote. Hey,
and it is an unbelievable quote, Tommy, and you're right. And Al, I actually might use that title. Don't be surprised. I'll give you a little credit, my friend, but that actually looks like a pretty good title. It looks like something I would use.
hey, I want to ask you a question, Matt.
Go ahead.
Because you asked Caleb this question, and I want to know what your answer is. From watching Shark Tank and from watching The Profit, and I love these shows. Now, understand that in the real world of entrepreneurialism and making pitches to investors and stuff, you're only seeing a fraction of it, and it's edited out, and all of that. But it's still good stuff to watch, and it gives us some insight into that whole business world. But from watching those, what is the one thing that you can really take away from that? What is the one thing that you've learned?
Ooh, that's tough. That's a tough question. The one thing, you know me, I'm hard to keep things in one because immediately my mind thinks three. Listen, The Profit, first of all, that dude's a beast.
Yeah.
Listen, I make my son watch every episode. We watched every 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Any article that's written, I've Googled him. I've read everything I can. That dude's a beast. So, the people, the process, and the product, right? To me, that's animal. That's animalistic, man. Think about it. People, process, product. You can take any business. I don't care what it is. And if you have the right people and the right product and the right process, that business is going to grow. You look at businesses that suck and businesses that are failing, it's because of messed up processes, messed up people, and horrible products, right? So that's the one thing from Marcus, my boy Marcus. You know what's funny? Caleb and I thought we saw Marcus downtown St. Pete yesterday, and we ran to the dude, because I wanted to meet him. I had my business card in my pocket. I was going to pick his brain. And the dude could have been a twin. Wow. And as I got up closer to him, I realized it wasn't him, which obviously was a little disappointing, but I'll meet him one day. Shark Tank, the number one thing I would say is how quick they are to trust their instinct. I know that's different, but I do believe in business you have to trust your instinct. You have to trust your gut. And many of those investors, Mark and Damon and, Kevin O'Leary and Barbara and, your boy, who's the guy you got called yesterday? Robert. Anyways. And another thing I like is that many of them, there's been a few times where they've said, I like you, but I don't like the business model. There's been other times where they've said, I really don't like the business, but I like you so much that I'm going to invest in this, So it's usually that one thing they're looking for. I've seen Mark Cuban say, I just don't see the fire in your eyes.
Yeah.
I don't believe you're sold on this business. And then what else I've learned? The number one thing is how quick they all quickly ask, what are your sales? Because at the end of the day, in any business, what are your sales? That's a question all of us should be asking. What are our sales? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about you, Mike?
It's the end of the day. From both of them, the one thing that I've seen, and so you've got some tremendous business minds, and you've got people that have done it, they've been there. And probably I saw this first by watching The Profit and seeing the situations where the business didn't succeed and there was conflict and things of that situation. And then I saw on the other side watching Shark Tank, and they'd make an offer and it would be refused or whatever. And in every case, a consistent theme that I've seen is that ego, personal ego, is the absolute enemy of successful business. If you let your personal ego get involved in your business decisions, you are going to fail. And it's going to prevent you from success. I've seen, in both cases, people would turn down great offers because they thought they knew, better than the billionaire tycoon that was telling them. And it's wait, what? You have $30,000 in sales and you understand business better than Mark Cuban? Are you kidding me? Right? And their ego wouldn't let them see the reality that was right in front of them. And so ego kills it.
What you just said was gold. And I'm going to tell you right now, I believe that. And if you and I run that show, and if they shut us down, I'd be asking them questions. Hey, listen, Give me your one piece of advice. I rarely see people do that. I'm like, how are you not going to ask them advice? And you're right. You got these little peons, excuse me, but they're currently peons and standing up to Mark Cuban and Damon John. And you're right, it cracks me up how they argue with them. I'm like, guys, zip it. Questions, learn, set your ego down. You know, think about that one guy that developed that tie thing. Remember the collar stays? And he argued with Damon John. Damon said, you know what, I like the business. I love the business. I want to invest, but I can't stand you. You know, thankfully Barbara saved him, you know, and got him back in and says, look, Damon, you come in with me. I'll deal with him. You don't have to deal with him, you know. But anyways, yeah, he was hard to watch, Karen. Oh, I wanted to come through the screen and just like, I just couldn't believe the guy. He blew my mind.
If you want to see the epitome of what I'm talking about ego destroying, go watch the Prophet, the episode about skullduggery. It's unbelievable, the arrogance and the ego that prevents them from literally being billionaires. It's unbelievable to me.
Mike, say that again. Say that again, because what you just said should be on the plaque of everyone's office. Ego prevents billionaires.
Pretty much.
Like ego. One of the reasons why your business does not grow, why you don't have more cash, is because of the owner's ego. Bottom line.
Hey, look, you
One of the
got to
reasons
have
people's customer service.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, you got to have confidence in who you are and confidence in your product and confidence in your business and all of that, right? But you need to be ready at every single moment to take the real data that's in front of you. Here's the problem with a lot of businesses is they're looking at the data that's in front of them. There's things that I would call, like vanity metrics. Okay, that's what Eric Rice calls it in Lean Startup. Vanity metrics, like, oh, we have, this many sales and this, and it makes me feel good about who I am, but then they don't dive down into the real nitty-gritty details of what's actually happening in the business and ask the hard question and say, did I make a bad decision somewhere? And admit it quickly so you can make a pivot and a turn and make the business successful rather than, continuing to dive into the canyon because you think you're right. I mean, like, why would you do that? I mean, are you in business to make yourself feel good, or are you in business to make money?
Bam. If your desire to be right is more important than the success of your business, you suck. Let me just tell you right now. One of the reasons, you just got to call like it is, man. This is our business. You suck. There's your tweet. It's Mike. One of the reasons why we have such a successful partnership is we listen to each other. Like I can honestly tell you, Mike and I don't care about who's right. We literally don't care. We don't care. Like it's no issue. Like it's never been an issue on one thing that we've ever had to disagree about or say, Mike, I don't know, dude. That I ain't vibing that, or the other way around. But did you know how few people you can get that with? That's why most partnerships don't work. Do you know how few people that you can actually sit down in a partnership and say, now look, I love you, man, but you're costing us cash. You got to get more focused. Mike the other day, and I'll call it right out on open air here, told me I need to get more focused. Think I got hurt? No, I didn't get my feelings hurt. I was over it in a millisecond. I mean, there was nothing to get over.
Hey.
I actually appreciate it. I was like, hey, you're right. I'm on it. Done. Most people with an ego, they'll ignore their partner for 3 months over that.
Yeah.
That's why they're not ready for business. They belong in something else.
We have zero problem calling ourselves out when we do something that isn't good, because we'll text each other and we'll hashtag we suck. Dude, that was terrible. What are we thinking?
You only knew how many times we don't got to rip each other because we're ripping ourselves. Yeah, right. I'm like, that was the worst.
Yeah.
I got done speaking Sunday night. And I was like, that was the worst job I've ever done in the history of speaking. I was like, I just felt like retiring that night. Like, I'm done. I don't even deserve it. Anyways, great show, Mike. Great times. Looking forward to hanging with you this weekend. We're going to have a lot of fun in D.C. Mike, we actually get to go to Washington, D.C. and do a mission trip. I wish we could shoot this show in front of the Capitol tomorrow. somehow. Maybe the White House, maybe the Washington Monument. You never know. You never know what me and Mike will pull out of the hat, folks. What were you going to say, Mike? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, don't forget, for you that missed that last night, people, let me explain real quick, okay? We're helping over 100 homeless veterans. It's going to cost us $25 per veteran to do what we want to do. Give them a blanket, a bag of blessing. We're bringing them Starbucks coffee. We wouldn't even mind buying them some new checkers because they love to play checkers.
Right.
Who's in? Who's in for 5-10 veterans? Let us know and go to this website, make a donation. We're also going to a family shelter that's got 35 homeless children. Again, $25 will help us get a stuffed animal and a blankie for these kids. You know, a good blanket. Many of them in the shelters don't have a good blanket. So, please go to mission25usa.com. Let us know how many kids you're in for, how many veterans you're in for, and put it out. Put this website out on your Facebook and your Twitters. Tell your family. Say, hey, this is an unbelievable cause. These guys are going to Washington, D.C. and going and doing missions work, a missions trip right here in our own country. Not only our own country, we're doing it in our nation's capital, my friends. Think about it. So, if you love America and you care about this country, quit griping about it on Twitter and quit cussing Obama all the time and get out there and make a difference. That's our problem, Mike, is all we do is sit around in these forums and talk. Get out there and do something, and then join causes and movements that are doing something.
That's right. And Carol, Sonia wants you on camera. I think she heard you talk.
Carol.
Hey,
Carol.
Well,
Carol.
So mission25usa.com, you can go there to donate. We appreciate it all. And, man, I'm excited to see you. What's that?
Who's in for $5,000? Come on, who's in for $5,000? Some of y'all got the cash. Come on. You got the money, y'all. Who's in for $5,000? Someone needs to finance the whole thing next year. I mean the whole thing. Someone just going to walk up and say, hey, guys, I'm loaded. Here's $50,000. Rock the world, man. But you know what's funny, Mike? $50,000 wouldn't even finance all the missions trips.
That's true. It would be good, though.
That's why we're millionaires.
That's right. Hey.
Okay, my
great show, Matt.
Yeah, Mike.
I'm looking forward to seeing you tonight.
Yeah, we gotta go. We're gonna have fun. It's gonna be a good time.
And
thank you for all you that already donated. I know many of you donated last night. Thank you for watching. Mike and I will be together normal time tomorrow. Fuel for Success, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Y'all enjoy your day and go get out of your comfort zone and snap out it, my friends. Rock yourself. God bless.
God bless. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Forward.